So today's choices are pretty easy because The Dead Thing is on Shudder and Gorge is on Apple TV. So if you want to see anything in theaters, it has to be Hard Eyes, which is probably the one I would have. Which is probably the one I would. We're going to be checking out the trailers and Rotten Tomatoes reviews for the new horror movies coming out this weekend, so you can decide which one to see for Valentine's Day. The movies coming out today are The Dead Thing, The Gorge, and we skipped the movie that came out on February 7th, but we're going to do it today because it's Valentine's Day, and that movie is called Heart Eyes. I don't know why they released it on the 7th instead of the 14th. Let's start with Heart Eyes. The filmmakers behind Freaky, Happy Death Day, and Werewolves Within joined forces for a new slasher, this one taking aim at romance on Valentine's Day. Okay, here we go.
Like heaven to touch.
For the past 2 years, a masked maniac known as the Hard Eyes Killer has stalked
and brutally slain couples on Valentine's Day.
We're being chased by a fucking serial killer!
So that trailer started good, got really fucking bad, and then ended good. It's said from the producers of Scream. And the thing is, Scream was a good movie, a lot of fun, especially when it first came out. But that was like fucking 30 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, Scream came out in 1996. So they got it right in 1996, and they've just been trying to recapture that for fucking 30 years. Whatever. Some of the kills looked pretty fun. So if you wanted to see it as a date movie, that might be fun. I'm sure if they reveal who the killer is, that's going to be fucking stupid. And as far as scaring couples goes, there's no scene that stuck with me and terrified me more than the scene of the Zodiac killer attacking the couple in the park in the middle of the day in Zodiac. So if you really want to be fucked up, watch that scene. Also coming out today, on Valentine's Day, The Dead Thing. Albert Kane's solo feature debut follows a young woman lost in a series of meaningless connections who falls in love with a charismatic and sensitive man who hides a dark secret that turns her affair into a dangerous obsession. That doesn't sound like anything new, but let's check out the trailer.
Alex? Kyle, we don't really need to talk, do we?
Hey, I need to talk to you. Kyle?
I'm sorry. Have we met?
You don't remember me?
When did we draw these?
You really don't know, do you? I don't know what's wrong with me.
We don't really need to talk, do we?
What is wrong with you?
We don't really need to talk, do we?
Oh, it's a Shudder film. Well, that started okay, and then kind of went nowhere. And I feel like the we don't need to really talk, do we? That seems like a clever little thing that they're going to play with in the movie that they spoiled in the trailer. So that's too bad. Finally, The Gorge. Miles Teller and Anna Taylor-Joy play elite snipers who fall in love during their top-secret mission guarding the Gorge. But there's a strange threat below that will test their love in all of humanity.
There she is. West Tower observation post. That is East Tower. Contact with the other side is strictly forbidden.
So what's the mission?
You need to stop what's in the gorge from coming out. The gorge is the door to hell.
Alright, so that seems like it doesn't really know what it wants to be. Like, is it a story about two people falling in love from a distance? Is it an action movie? Is it a horror film? It didn't even really seem like a horror film, did it? It seemed like it would be a good book, but I don't know that it should be a movie. Anyway, let's check out the Rotten Tomatoes reviews for Hard Eyes. 81% on the tomato meter, 78% on the popcorn meter, and it's 137 minutes long. Alright, a positive review from J.D. Duran, In Session Film. It is frustratingly derivative as a horror film, but I did find it charming as a romantic comedy. Kevin Harley, Radio Times. Climaxing with a so what killer reveal, Hard Eyes needed a sure aim to secure a spot in Scream fans' satirical affections. So it is what it looks like. Hard Eyes is rated R for strong violence and gore, some sexual content, and language. The Dead Thing is an hour and 35 minutes, and no rating because it's not in theaters, because it's a fucking Shudder release. 87% on the tomato meter with 31 reviews, but historically, these Shudder release reviews cannot be trusted. Daniel M. Kimmel, North Shore Movies. It takes a while to figure out what The Dead Thing is about, as it's more of a puzzle box than an out-and-out horror film. While director Elric Kane has style to spare, some may find this a bit of a slow burn. Eric Douglas, The Weekend Warrior. Tries way too hard to be horror with a handful of dull kills, but it's mostly hindered by the weak writing and casting that doesn't do much to elevate that weaker material. Oh my god, and a fucking review that just totally spoils it, so don't read the reviews. Shit. Motherfucker. Phil Hode, Guardian, top critic. The slasher-type direction increasingly taken by the film is a bit silly and awkwardly executed. This is where the film's Lynchian effects seem most cut and pasted. Hunt, though, gives an excellent performance in the lead role. Finally, The Gorge. So The Gorge is 2 hours and 7 minutes and apparently only available on Apple TV, which you need a subscription for, so that's fucking annoying. 63% on the tomato meter, 79% on the popcorn meter. Peter Gray, the AU review. It's a breezy watch and the epitome of popcorn entertainment, but this really should have been so much more. 2.5 out of 5. This review seems more in line with how I felt about the trailer. Joseph Robinson, Fish Jelly Films. Premise is interesting, but the finished product feels like an overly long rom-com Resident Evil, and not in a good way. Which is too bad because an overly long rom-com Resident Evil sounds like a good idea. So today's choices are pretty easy, because The Dead Thing is on Shudder, and Gorge is on Apple TV, so if you want to see anything in theaters, it has to be Hard Eyes. Which is probably the one I would have... Which is the one I probably would have chosen anyway. Next week we'll check out the trailer for The Monkey. Fresh off this year's box office hit Longlegs, director Osgood Perkins is headed into the world of Stephen King with The Monkey, and it looks like a bloody delight. The trailer all but promises a very darkly funny and gory horror film ahead. And that's the only one next week, so obviously that's going to be the one to see, but come back and check out that trailer with me anyway. Happy Valentine's Day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. This is Fitzy_2K on X. Message me for any voice work details. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.